if you run a real estate team or brokerage, I'm gonna unfold this 4-step process that you could implement as soon as today so you can recruit more agents into your brokerage. If you don't know, my name is Carl Russo. I run a company called eState. We help 1,300 real estate professionals, all the way from solo agents generating proprietary lead flow to teams and brokerages driving revenue and recruiting consistently. Let me do a little bit of backup in how these agents are actually getting on your calendar in the first place. So what you're doing is you're marketing with an offer. So you have an offer through your marketing channel. Okay, this could be cold outreach, warm outreach, paid ads, whatever it might be. You have an offer that people are responding to and they're meeting with you about joining your brokerage or team. Once you have an offer, you have an application. On this application, the purpose of this application is to weed out the bad applicants and have the good applicants that actually fit your criteria to meet with you. Once they're meeting with you, then they get into a call. Now, this can be a closing call depending on how good your indoctrination sequences are. Essentially, what an indoctrination sequence is after someone finishes your application, they need information in order to buy, or they need information in order to join your brokerage or team. So, depending on the amount of information, how good that information is, will dictate if you could close them on 1 call, 2 call, 3 call, 4 call, 5 call. Now, the biggest thing you're probably thinking is, well, in real estate, a lot of agents, they take a very long time to switch, and a lot of them don't jump right away, right? And that's very true. Top agents won't just join right away. But the testament to having a very good sales process is the absolute amount of time, okay? So the absolute amount of time that it takes someone to join. So I hear all of the time brokerages or team leads initially, before they even build out this entire process, hey, I'm an amazing salesperson. And I'm not saying that you're not an amazing salesperson. I'm not saying that you are an amazing salesperson. This is just the facts and the truth. In order to be, like, let's define amazing salesperson. So a salesperson that is amazing, what they do is they delay the time. What they do is they have a time delay. So they run such an efficient conversation between discovery, transition, pitch, and close that they're able to make someone make a decision today instead of 3 months from now. This is the difference between a mediocre salesperson and a really good salesperson. Now, typically this happens because a lot of the teams and brokerages we talk to, they focus here on transition and pitch. They focus on, hey, this is what we offer. We offer XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. Instead of really good recruiters, when you're having a salesperson run your recruiting process, on the actual calls, they're really good at discovery and closing. Because an agent doesn't care necessarily about what you offer, they care about the solution that you provide. The way that you can frame your solution is to map their problems to your solution. The only way to actually do that authentically is to understand what their problems are, which is done in discovery, and then closing the loop between their current problem and what your solution is. And your solution is custom because you're an entire team and you're an entire brokerage. So all these different solutions that you provide will bridge the gap between their problem and how you actually solve it, which is your solution, which is essentially how you close them. So, said in short, a lot, and I want to be clear here. I'm not saying that you're amazing at sales or you're bad at sales. This is just the facts around. And all sales is motivating someone to change. Okay? So I don't like the word salesperson. I don't like that. I look at it as motivating someone to change so that they can get to where they want to be. Okay? So their ideal outcome. So if you believe from the bottom of your heart 100% that their problems that you find out in discovery, you can solve, and you can help that person with an amazing career path, you're going to motivate them to change in a less amount of time. So your time delay would be today instead of 3 months. So if you're experiencing recruiting calls where it's taking a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, a year, you're not running an efficient call. And again, that has nothing to do with me, nothing to do with you. That is just the facts. That is how this runs. That's how sales works. So now let's jump into how this actually works and what it looks like to actually run an efficient conversation. So you're probably thinking, okay, that's great theoretically wise, but those are very important fundamentals to understand in order to actually hit your goals. So a lot of people look at sales as people love me. or they love the features of my business, or they love the culture. We do not want to sell features, okay? We want to sell outcomes. And in order to arrive at this destination, we need to fundamentally understand what it means to do this, which means time. We want people to make decisions quickly. If they make decisions quickly, that means that we're good at what we do. If they make decisions slowly, that means we're not being clear with what their problems are, which is discovery. We're not transitioning well, we're not pitching well, and we're not closing efficiently. This is very important because if you do not have this dialed in, you can spend all of the money in the world on marketing, but it won't equate to money in the brokerage. So you can have a kick-ass sales process or a kick-ass marketing process. You spend $1,000, $2,000, $50,000, $100,000 a month, but if you're not running an efficient call, your KPIs are going to be all whack because you're going to be sitting there with your team going, guys, we're spending $5,000 a month and we haven't had anyone join this month. Guess what the problem is? It's not the agents, it's not the market, it's not your marketing. It is how efficiently these calls are going and if you guys are actually running a process behind it. All right, so enough of that. Let's jump right into everything and be very straight to the point with what discovery is, okay? So discovery, pretty straightforward. You're discovering their problems, okay? So the first thing you're gonna be looking at is a gap, something called a gap. So where are you at now? Where are you at now? And what is your goal? So the first thing that you're gonna do is establish a goal, or establish a gap, I'm sorry. So say someone's, hey, I'm at 12 sides a year. I do 6 buy sides and 6 sell sides. And next year, I want to be doing 27 sides. Now, the function of this is understanding. The reason why you want this, okay, is because there needs to be a goal. And you are going to be closing and selling and motivating change because their goal is going to align with what you provide. Okay, a lot easier said than done. So you're gonna map their problems to your solution. Your solution is your brokerage and the specific functions that you have. So the features, the support, the culture, the lead flow, whatever it might be. And you're gonna map their problems that you discover by asking the right questions, and you're gonna map those to your solution. So the way that we do that is understand what's going on. So fundamentally, you're at 12 sides right now. Why? On this side of the table, right? We have to ask questions on why this isn't good enough. What are you doing now? What are the current problems with this? Why? A lot of people are now you're gonna find their core beliefs or their core problems, which is gonna be time. Hey man, I don't have enough time to actually get to where I wanna go. Support. I wanna support my family more. I wanna make more money. I wanna be able to support people. Money. Hey man, this is financial. This is a financial goal that I wanna get to because of X, Y, Z. Right, so these are gonna be, why is this not good enough? Why is 12 sides not good enough for you? Then you're gonna go, okay, that's a very specific goal. You wanna get to 27 sides. In particular, does that look like, 20 sell sides? And if it's 20 sell sides, you want 7 buy sides? What's the difference? Like, why are you looking for just like majority of sell sides and not so many buy sides? And you wanna seek to understand what this goal is, okay? So you can create a big gap. And when you're creating a big gap, you're gonna go 12 sides. What is that? Let's say that's 100K they're making a year. And the purpose of creating a gap is making the distance between where they're at now massive to where they wanna go. Okay, so pretty much like over the next year of business, you wanna go from $100,000 to $270,000? Why that goal in particular? What does that actually mean? Like, why that goal? What does that mean to your family? What have you tried in the past to get there? And now, boom, you have a massive gap between where they're at right now and where they want to get to. And because you have this huge gap, you're allowed to seek to understand why this isn't good enough and why this is the goal that they want to get to, okay? Now that is the gap, fundamentally, that you want to create. That is basic discovery. We call that discovery 1. That's essentially the metrics that you follow. Like, hey, where are you at right now? Where do you want to get to? That is basic. Then you have discovery 2. This is objection handling. You want to undercover all the objections that they're going to give you here before you ask. Okay? If you handle objections in discovery, then there's not going to be an objection in the close. The most efficient calls ever, you undercover what the objections are before you even get to it. And this happens in a couple of different ways. With language. So if someone hops on your call and they go, hey man, I just want to see what this is all about. I just want to learn more. That is passive language. Passive language is not good. You want active language. I have 2 A's here by accident. Okay? You want active language. Active language is, hey, I want to grow my business. I need to. So that means passive is a want. Hey man, I want to see what you're all about. I want to discover what, your brokerage is doing. Need is a different thing. Active language is need. So hey man, I really need to see what you're all about. And the difference between want and need is urgency. And urgency is earned. You have to earn urgency. So you have to ask the right questions to delineate between, hey man, why do you need to actually grow your business? Because yeah, man, like everyone wants to make more money, everyone wants to provide for the family, but like, why are you actively searching for new ways or better ways to actually grow your business? Like, why is that so important to you? You need to shift their language from passive to active, okay? So language is step 1. And if you never shift them, and they're the type of person that's like, yeah, man, I'm just like looking around, that is something that you have to confront. Like, hey, man, just to be clear, you're not just like hopping on calls, like looking at brokerages all the time, right? Like, are we trying to solve a problem? Like, are you really needing to grow the business because of X, Y, Z? Okay? So, and then 2 is objections. So, a lot of people have the same types of objections, okay? So it's either time, support. So time meaning not the best time right now. So you're going to ask them in the beginning of the call, why is right now the time that you're actually looking to make a change? And if they go, I'm not looking to make a change, then you go, why are we on the call? You know what I mean? So time, boom, support. Hey, is there anyone else involved in making a decision of like switching the brokerage? Or you, the business owner, like the decision maker, the person that like actually makes decisions about growing X, Y, Z? Support decision makers. This is the only one that's difficult because people can lie. Or sometimes there are true decision makers that are like family, spouse, mentor, whatever it might be. It's important to either get them on the call so they can be a part of the conversation. And if they have the friction towards that, they probably won't be the best fit. But the people that are sincerely like, hey, I need to change. I really want to find a way to grow. And I just need the support from my mentor or my spouse or my current whatever. Those types of people that are aligned with you that actually will get to their goals and do everything in their power to get there. And they hear you say, hey man, if it's important for another decision maker to be here like your mentor, wouldn't it make sense for them to go through this process so that we can all have an open, honest conversation to figure out if what we have here can actually get you to where you want to go? And if they're aligned with that, they're going to go, yeah, that sounds really good. I would actually prefer that because that would get me to my goal. That's how you sort of weed it out. Time, support, money. So this only applies, like, so for instance, someone would go, that's too expensive, right? But money for you guys, right? Because you're not collecting money right up, or maybe you might be, right? So a lot of brokerages, what they do is they pitch their brokerage and they go, if you want this component of it, we can get you started today and onboarded. And for that, it's X, Y, Z. But the biggest thing is money. For this, I wouldn't really focus on this too much unless you have like you're charging for onboarding or you're collecting money up front for specific services or coaching before they get actually onboarded inside of the process. So money, comes from the value that you pitch. So remember that gap that we were talking about? Like, hey, what's more expensive, staying out where you're right now, or actually putting a process together to actually get your business to the place that you want it to be? So like, honestly, what's more expensive, staying at $100,000 a year or not having the skills and the team behind you to get to $270,000 a year? What's more expensive? That's like a good money one, right? And that's just like a cheap handle. You really want to ask questions to uncover this, okay? Then you have competition or options. So this comes from your discovery one, which is understanding where they're at. So essentially, like, an objection would be like, hey man, I'm just like looking into options. I'm looking into brokerages. This is gonna be one of the biggest things to solve, okay? So the more tactical that you are in your discovery, the better you'll be at, hey, I'm just like looking around at competition, because that fundamentally comes from passive to active. So you don't want the conversation to be about you and what you offer. You need the conversation to be about their problems and what they're experiencing, what their goals are. And if you do this properly, you will not get this, right? You won't get a competition thing, because the only way that you'll get a competition objection, like, hey, I'm looking into 6 different brokerages, is if all you're doing is talking about yourself. Because in their mind, they're going to be coming into the call going, what are they all about? And then they're going to be able to compare you to other people. Instead of doing that, what you need to be doing is, where are you at right now? Where do you want to go? What problems are you experiencing? What things have you tried to actually fix this? How long has this been going on for? Why are you looking to make a decision about it? You make it about them. You have 2 different forms of discovery. Number 1 is basic, which is the metrics. Number 2 is objection handling, which is fundamentally language, passive versus active language, and then objection handling before you even get into the pitch. Okay? That is how you run an efficient discovery. If you do all of that right, then you're going to move into something called a transition. So before you get into the pitch, you're going to transition. So you're going to go, hey, based off of everything that we talked about, we can definitely help. If it's cool with you, we'll go through everything together so that we can really look at what it's going to take to actually get you from going from like $100,000 a year in like GCI to actually doing consistent like $270,000 a year, having the right team behind you, the right support, and X, Y, Z. So you're going to ask for pitch. Right, so first you're going to tell them, hey, I can help you. This is the exact thing that I help with. I'm experienced with helping people with this. Are you okay going through everything together? Did you want to essentially make a decision about this together? And when you frame it like this, then by the time that you ask, it's not weird. The problems that I see when I do call reviews is people just pitch. They hop on the call and they go, hey, we got all this cool stuff. Did you want to join? Close? They're like, what? I don't even know. They're like, not right now. I don't really know. And then they go, I don't have enough information. I have to think about it. I don't really know. And it's because you're not running an efficient call. So you need to transition and pitch and go, hey, based off of where you're at, I know that we can get you to where you want to go. So in order to get you where you want to go, are you comfortable going through how we actually solve it and figuring out together if this is going to be a good decision? Okay, so far we have our discovery. We have discovery 1 and discovery 2, which is active versus passive language, uncovering the objections and creating a big gap. This is very important because, and I'll say this like a broken record, what a lot of brokerages and team leads do is they get on a recruiting call and they just pitch and then they just ask for the close. It's really bad. Good recruiting processes and good salespeople and good closers, what do? They make sure that there is a time delay, right? So they make sure that they make a decision now instead of later. Your pitch should be 400 to 600 words. This is going to be a big, big, big problem for a lot of people watching this video. But this is the truth, and this is how I want to be able to help you. A lot of brokerages and teams I talk to and I experience working with, is they have a lot of things that they offer. So a lot of features, okay? We do not want to sell features because you're probably thinking, and typically what happens is they hop on the call and they just pitch for 45 minutes straight. And then they go, do you want to join? That will never work. You'll get lucky here and there, but that's not consistent or predictable. What you need to do is you need to map their problems. What a pitch is, okay, fundamentally is mapping their problems to your solution. And this is custom every single time. mapping their problems to your solution, and it is 100% custom. And you're probably thinking, how the hell am I going to do that? That's why you do proper discovery. It's because you go, okay, in order to get to $100,000 or go from $100,000 a year in GCI to $270,000, you need lead flow. You need to learn how to nurture agents. You need to learn how to do your follow-up and pipeline. And the way that we actually do that is we not only give you the system for it, but we coach you every single step of the way. So you're mapping their problem to your solution. So you're going to have your pitch, which is fundamentally 3, 2, 3. You have 3 pillars. Pillar 1, Pillar 2, and Pillar 3. Your pitch should only be 400 to 600 words. If it is longer than that, you're going to confuse them, and you're going to force them to not make a decision. So you need to be very concise on what your pillars are. So when you're building out your demo, you're building out your sales call, the 3 things that you offer should correlate with everyone. And this typically is systems, coaching, and conversions. And right now, sitting there, you're probably thinking, you know what, I have a bunch of cool systems, I have a bunch of cool coaching and support, and I have a bunch of cool conversions. So ways to get leads, or ways to, either ways to get leads or buyer or seller leads, or systems they be actually set up for them. So this is what you do. And this should be 400 to 600 words, okay? That's it. The longer you talk, the more you complicate it. This is up to you. This is 100% up to you. Your pillars, 1, 2, and 3, follow the framework of 400 to 600 words, and that's it, okay? And you need to customize it. So it needs to be their problems to your solution, okay? Now when we hop into a close is gonna look different for every single brokerage. Your close is before you ask, so you're gonna have 1 and 2. This is gonna be your ask, okay? Number 1, before you ask, you're gonna do something called a gap check. So, hey, I know in the beginning of the call, the biggest thing that we were talking about is getting you from where you're at right now, like doing $100,000 a year, to doing $270,000 a year. I just wanna make sure, based off of everything that we went through today, are you confident that what we have here can actually get you there? That's a gap check. It's called the tie down. Obviously, you guys know what a tie down is. It's just making sure that, hey, will this help you? Because if it doesn't help them, why would you close them? Why would you motivate them to change, right? Obviously, so when you ask, then your ask, which is your close. So for XYZ, everything that we talked about, it's free. All you have to do is join my brokerage, which is your 20-80-20 split, okay? Now, this is a function. Your ask is going to be custom to everything. So based off of the agent's production, you're going to give them a custom split or custom that. But when you are watching this right now, please be open to what an efficient call should be looking like. You cannot have the agent coming into the call run the conversation. Because when they run the conversation, what they're going to do is they're going to compare you to different other companies and other brokerages or other teams. And when they do that, they force you to only do this. Like 80-20, like what's my split going to be? What am I going to get for free? How much are you going to pay me? X, Y, Z. When you don't run an efficient call, that's what you're going to get from an agent. But when you run an efficient call and you have it question-based and you discover their problems and you map their problems to your solution, and then at the end of the call, you essentially say, hey, everything that we talked about to get you from where you want to go to where you want to go, or where you're at to where you want to go is free. All you have to do is join my brokerage. Then you talk about next steps. But I wanted to take a pause to talk about this really quick, the commission side, because this will be a clear testament if you are doing this process right. Now, there's not going to be a genie in the back of your pocket going, hey, you're doing this right 100%. But you do need to follow this framework. And a good way to know that if you're not following the framework properly is you're going to be getting hit with the agent trying to take control, trying to take the frame of the conversation and going, I want to see what you're about. I want to see what your brokerage is about. How much are you going to give me in commission? How much am I going to get in XYZ? You need to take the frame of the conversation for it to be question-based, to help them out, to understand their situation. Because if you don't understand their situation, you won't understand your problems, which means that you fundamentally won't be able to pitch them. Because all pitching is mapping their problems to your solution. That is the big fundamental change in the difference between recruiting processes and closers and salespeople that are really, really, really good and salespeople that aren't as good and just get walked all over, and their decision-making process is 3 to 6 months because they let the agent take the frame of the conversation because it's the easy thing to do. And the biggest fundamental change there is that the difference that we were talking about in discovery, which is passive versus active. Okay? When the agent walks in and they're like, hey man, I just want to see what you're all about, there's going to be a big problem. So you need to change the frame of the conversation and dig a little bit deeper and ask smart questions so that they have an active language with you. And they're like, hey, I need to change. I need. That's how people make decisions, not just hopping in to see information. Okay, cool. So I hope this helps. I'm going to have a link below this video with the actual frameworks here inside of discovery, transition, pitch, and close. I would highly suggest pausing the video and rewatching it again and pausing the video and trying to map what your call is going to look like with your guys' specific offerings that you guys have at your team and your brokerage. Because discovery is super important. So you're going to have those 2 phases of discovery. Your transition, which is asking them, hey, are you cool going through everything together and actually figuring out if making a decision makes sense to actually get you to where you want to go. So transition will frame the close so that when you get to the close, it's normal when you ask them because they just gave you permission to do it. Then your pitch, again, this should only be 400 to 600 words maximum, okay, maximum. And all pitching is mapping their problems to your solution and then closing them, which is what we just went through here. You want to tie them down and then ask. And you're going to know if you did a good job, if the conversation's only about commission or if the conversation is about their problems and how you can help solve their problems. That's when you know you have a very efficient closing call. Then you could talk about next steps, which is the logistics behind joining a brokerage. Every brokerage or team is different. I hope this helps, guys. And again, if you guys want help building this out 100% for free, all you have to do is make a meeting with our team. My team will go through all of these steps of the process with you. We're going to figure out what your marketing process looks like, what your sales call look like, so that you guys can grow and make a lot more money as a team or brokerage. You can leave your credit card at home. Our team will be more than happy. You'll either meet with me or any member of my team. And they're going to walk you through what this looks like and provide clarity so that you guys can continue to crush it. Again, this is the 4-step framework that you can implement today to make more money as a real estate team or brokerage. Awesome. Hit the subscribe button below. Keep crushing it.